I felt you needed an organization, and I still feel that way. I mean, not that we have, we've solved a lot of problems. You needed an organization that was committed to solving these problems using tactics of nonviolent direct action. And of course we had Southern Christian Leadership Conference, but you needed an organization where people would work full time, where that they would devote their lives to it. And that's what we did. It was 16 of us. We knew we might be killed, but yet we felt that segregation was so horrible that people had to work full time on it. It's not a question of after work, writing this petition. And I'm not critical of any organization, the 3 organizations or 4 organizations. We work with them all. But our organization was different. And we took a vow to each other that we were going to try to donate our lives to helping to end segregation in the United States of America.
16 people.
Right.
And it kept growing and growing.
And we kept organizing and organizing.
Do you think that the role of SNCC has been properly written about, documented, or is it still its significance misunderstood?
Well, I think that hopefully this interview will be very helpful. I don't think that the answer to the question is no, because but we're trying to do that. That's one of the reasons why I was very eager to appear on the program, to try to do what I could to help straighten out whatever is possible, the historical records, and to try to encourage other people to donate their lives, not to get caught up in a lot of things that a lot of the youth are caught up in today. So the answer to your question is no, but we're trying to do what we can, in terms of trying to correct some of that. We are trying to leave a historical record, which is, again, one of the reasons why I'm very grateful to be interviewed and to try to share with you and other people, my experiences.
In terms of the way SNCC has been portrayed or not portrayed, usually it's students, radicals, some depictions, a lot of infighting, but tremendous energy and willingness to do things that the more traditional organizations wouldn't even consider. How much of that is true and not true?
Well, it's very true. I mean, I was during the summer project of 1964, there was a meeting in Senator Javits, it's a senator from New York, in his home, in his apartment in New York City. Roy Wilkins was there, he's a good friend of mine. He's written some telegram in terms of when I was awarded the Roosevelt Key Award from Roosevelt University. He was there. It was during the course of the summer project. He objected to the summer project. He objected to a coalition of forces going into Mississippi. And he objected because he kept saying, well, you have to work on Mississippi from the outside. And I said, well, look, change is not going to come just from the outside struggle. You have to go inside. And so it's not a question of ridiculing, but kept objecting to what we were doing inside the state of Mississippi because he felt that you had to work on Mississippi from the outside. This raises a theoretical question, which is very important, is how does change occur? I mean, can you always change something from working from the outside of it? Or do you have to go inside? And our position was that you had to work on the inside of Mississippi as well as to have propaganda forms on the outside. And that so that's an example of someone objecting. A lot of the other leaders didn't quite understand, what it is that we were doing, but, you know, our actions inside of Mississippi and other southern states led to the 1964, helped to lead to the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and where President Lyndon Johnson signed that act. I was in the White House when he signed the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Did that give you a feeling of victory, or was it sort of anticlimactic at that point?
No, definitely was a feeling of victory. There's no question about it, because, you know, some of our people have been killed. You know, there was a lot of horror, a lot of beatings. But there's an aspect of this whole process, and I still say we should, in a minute, of the House Un-American Activities Committee, because I didn't know that when I was at the University of Southern California that the House Un-American Activities Committee was holding hearings downtown in Los Angeles, and did this for 11 months, you know, where they were interrogating people, bringing up people, you're a communist, this, that, and the other. Also, I didn't know that a friend of mine, when I was trying to examine my life at the University of Southern California, was telling me that the government had placed informers in various classrooms at the University of Southern California, and that and then I recall myself in one of my classes standing up saying to the instructor, or to the class itself, I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "When I left this country back in '47, there was an atmosphere of camaraderie, of togetherness, and so forth, and it seems as if people have been, I don't understand, that they don't want to speak out and so forth." So the instructor said, "Well, there is something that has happened. You know, this is between the, you know, and that, but that you yourself should not let that bother you, that if you have something that you want to say, that you should say it, you know, and that you know," because I couldn't understand the reticence of my classmates at the University of Southern California. And of course, what has happened, one of the things that had happened was this whole question of the House Un-American Activities Committee, the whole McCarthy period, you know, which that frightened people, silenced people, intimidated people. These are kinds of things that we were up against, and we're still up against some of them.